another video lesson. We are really glad that you're tuning in. Did you know that Jesus really liked stories? He used stories called parables to teach us about his dad, God the Father, and his kingdom. A parable is a little story with a big message. Today, we're going to read a story about three men. They each were faced with a choice. And at the end of the story, see if you can tell me who chose kindness. We are reading today from the Rhyming Bible. And you can find it in your real Bible in Luke chapter 10. The Good Man. Jesus told this story one day. There once was a man who was on his way to visit a town that was far away. But out of the bushes jumped some thieves. They didn't say thank you. They didn't say please. They took his things and knocked him down and left him bleeding on the ground. Not long after, a priest came by. He saw the man and heard him cry. Did the priest help? Did he even try? No, he did not. He walked on by. Next came a Levite. He saw the man too. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I'd rather not bother with that kind of guy. So he stepped to one side and walked on by. At last, a Samaritan came that way. He saw the man and decided to stay. He bandaged his wounds and gave him a ride and fed him some food and stayed by his side. And when the Samaritan went on his way, he counted his coins and paid for their stay. Then Jesus asked, who did the good deed? Now go do the same for someone in need. Can you tell me who chose kindness? It was the Samaritan man. When Jesus told the story, the ending would have been pretty shocking to the people who were listening. They were called Jews, and the Jewish people did not get along with the Samaritan people. In fact, even though they lived close to each other, they were taught as kids to avoid each other. They were not allowed to talk to them or even get too close. Stay away was the rule. But that's not the heart of God or how he wants us to live. Jesus came to teach us about his Father God and how things work in his kingdom. God is kind. His loving kindness has no boundaries, and he wants us to show love and kindness in the same way. So he tells us the story of a guy who showed kindness to someone who was hurt and in desperate need of help. It didn't matter that this someone was different than him. It didn't matter that people might think he was crazy for helping him. It didn't matter that maybe the Samaritan had an important meeting to get to or a busy day. All that mattered was this person who needed help. We have an idea for you this week. Ask your mom or dad to help you get out their calendar. This is my calendar. I haven't had to use it too much this year. So here's my month of July. But if you don't have a calendar, you can print one off on the computer, or you can make one from paper and crayons or pencils. You can make your own. So make a calendar this week, and then sit down with your family and brainstorm ideas on how you can show kindness every day. So here's some examples on my calendar here. We have 2 weeks left in the month of July. You can smile at people. You can clean your room without being asked. You can compliment 5 people that day. You could take time and read a book to a little sibling. You can share something that maybe you don't want to share, but you know would really bless someone. You can send notes to people in the mail. You can write a note to your grandma or your grandpa or someone that you know might be lonely. You can bake cookies for your neighbor. You can take a day and say that only kind words are coming out of your mouth today. That one might be a challenge. Offer to help others. Just whatever you guys come up with, write down how you can be kind each day. One thing you can do every day is to be ready. Like the Good Samaritan, he wasn't planning on it. I'm sure he didn't have on his calendar, help the guy on the side of the road. That wasn't on his calendar. He just saw him and he was ready to be kind. So that's something every day, be ready. This week, I had a friend of mine tell me a story that happened in her life. My friend Wesley, you probably know Miss Wesley from church. She tells all the funny jokes. She was walking her dog one night and saw a friend of hers, and they were just chatting, and it was dark, and they saw this dog that was just kind of running wild in and out of the street, and they got concerned, and the dog ended up being hit by a car. And so Wesley handed her dog to her friend, who put it in her car, and she went over to the dog that was hurt, and he had crawled up on somebody's porch, and that man came out, and they were like trying to decide what to do, and other people around weren't doing anything, and they all left, and then they called the authorities and they couldn't do anything. And so Wesley stayed with this stranger's dog. She knew somebody owned it because it had a collar, and she didn't want it to die. She was helping this broken dog. They thought it had a broken leg. So she called her husband, Michael, who came up. They scooped the dog up and took the dog home and took care of it. They fed it, put it in a comfy place. And then she posted on Facebook, did anybody lose a dog? We have your dog. It was hit. We think it might have a broken leg. And they were taking really good care of it. And someone said, that's my dog. So the next day they came and got their dog. And they were so happy to have their dog back. And they took the dog to the vet, and the dog did not have a broken leg. The dog was okay. So that's kind of a modern day Good Samaritan story. Wesley wasn't planning to help a broken dog or a hurt dog that night, but she was ready. She was ready to be kind and do the right thing. And everything worked out. So always be ready to show kindness. See you guys.